The main faults of meditation. The two main faults of meditation are sluggishness and excitement. Sluggishness is when one's meditation becomes very heavy, very unclear, very thick, and full of torpor. Sometimes one sleeps and feels a great heaviness and lack of clarity. That's the first fault of meditation. The second fault is excitement, and when one's mind is overstimulated. One has many thoughts of the past, or the currents of thoughts are so strong that one's mind just can't be controlled. In more detail, there are 6 difficulties or faults of meditation. First is too much wanting, too much desire. This occurs when one is thinking, "Oh, I want to be happy, I must be happy, I want to go and amuse myself, and go to see this or that particular event." Or one feels one ought to be a certain way, or one feels a great pull towards something. By itself, this is not always an obstacle to meditation. But when it becomes so strong that one's mind keeps going back to that thing over and over, then it is detrimental for meditation. For example, one may think, "I want a nice house," and then think of what the house is going to look like, how it is going to be built, and so on. The second fault is having an aggressive mind. This is when one thinks about hurting other people, how one wants to fight back with someone who has harmed one, to want to say something that will really put them in their place. These thoughts aren't necessarily an obstacle, but when they become so dominant that the mind is so drawn into it that one isn't achieving stability in meditation, then it becomes a fault. Obviously, these faults are things one needs to eliminate in oneself. This is why we do the Kagyu lineage prayer at the beginning of each meditation session. The prayer says, "Weariness of samsara is the foot of meditation." The actual word in Tibetan for weariness is shenlok, which means to turn one's back on craving, or to turn away from wanting and craving. If one needs a foot or ground for one's meditation, one needs to turn away from the powerful pull of desire which dominates one's mind. Some people, when they encounter the expression shenlok, it usually has a feeling of disgust with samsara. Think that to be a Buddhist one has to wear torn clothes, eat the simplest food, live in a run-down house, and choose an impoverished country to live in. To be a Buddhist doesn't mean that one wears rags, eats terrible food, and so on. It means that one doesn't have powerful desires and thinks, "I really must have that thing, I can't live without it, I deserve this, and living without it isn't right." It means one doesn't think, "This is too important to me, I can't give it away because it means too much to me." When desire that's strong, then it presents an obstacle to one's practice. Shenlok, or disgust with samsara, literally means turning away from desire. It means detaching oneself from those desires, involvements, which represent obstacles because one can't let go. Buddha himself said, "If one doesn't have desire, then it is perfectly all right to own a house of 10,000 stories. If one doesn't have desire, then one needs to even give up attachment to even a miserable mud hut. If one doesn't have desire, then it is all right to possess 1,000 measures of gold. If one has desire, then one needs to give up even one's attachment to even a worthless object." So the main point is not attachment to the objects themselves, but one's attitude towards these objects. The third fault of meditation is mental obscurity, which occurs when one's mind is not clear, when it is heavy and thick. The fourth fault of meditation occurs when that obscurity becomes sleep. One is so sluggish that one falls asleep. The fifth fault is excitement, or overstimulation, which occurs when one is too excited by the power of thoughts. The sixth fault is regret, which occurs when one feels very sorry about something that has happened and keeps going back to it during meditation. From time to time, one of these faults comes up in one's practice. When they pop up, one must first of all recognize them for what they are, and then decide not to be swayed from doing meditation by them, because meditation will allow one to go beyond them. For instance, if one has this sadness or regret for something in the past, then one recognizes it in one's meditation and thinks, oh yes, today I'm being overwhelmed by regret. I must go beyond regret through meditation. One uses meditation to help get rid of this unnecessary regret. If one is aggressive, one must think, yes, today I have a lot of aggression. I must meditate in order to get over that aggression by using meditation to help annihilate aggression. If one feels great attraction of desire and involvement with a project, then one thinks, today I will meditate to remove that particular obstacle. Approaching it in this way will allow one to work with it and diminish its power over one's meditation. These are the 6 main faults of meditation. The most important ones are sluggishness and excitement. In order to cope with these 2 main obstacles, one can employ visualization. When one is very sluggish, dull, thick and heavy, one can recall the qualities of the Buddha, the 3 jewels, the Dharma, and the qualities of samadhi and meditation. This should perk one up a bit. One can also visualize a white drop of light in one's heart moving up to the crown of the head and staying there for a while. This will help with sluggishness. When the problem is excitement, one needs to tone down the mind a little. One remembers all of the drawbacks of samsara, all the suffering it involves, and all the problems caused by the defilements. One can also visualize a black drop in one's heart that slowly sinks down into the seat on which one is sitting. It is said that those 2 techniques will help with the problems of sluggishness and excitement. When we start meditation, it is important to do many short sessions rather than a few long sessions of meditation. So we try to meditate very sharply for a short while and then stop. Then we have a break and do another meditation session. Each time is short, sharp, and clear, and it feels like a pleasant experience. If one tries to meditate too long, it becomes exhausting, and the association of tiredness with meditation is not going to help. That's one of the reasons for doing short sessions at first. Also, thinking of meditation as a pleasant experience makes us very keen to do it again. If we see the benefits of sitting just for a little while and having this moment of clarity and precision, then we appreciate it and want to do it again and again to perfect it. Once we are used to it, we should start increasing the length of sessions slowly so that we increase the amount of clarity. When we have the taste of meditation and begin to understand what meditation is, we need to increase and develop that meditation. We need to develop it constantly, going 1 degree of stability to an even greater degree of stability. 3 things which help us do this are called integrating defilements into the path, integrating happiness and sadness into the path, and integrating sickness into the path. Integrating the defilements into the path is turning desires, aggression, stupidity, pride, jealousy, and so on into good qualities. Of these, aggression or anger are by far the most powerful defilements. One thinks the situation is so unbearable that one feels one has to explode, hit someone, shout at somebody. If one is under the influence of anger, one tries to look at it directly and find out where it is at the time the actual anger arises. Where is the anger coming from? Where is it welling up from? Where is this actual instant? Where does it go? If one faces it directly, it cannot actually be grasped. One feels angry, but when one looks for it, one cannot find out where it is situated. If one tries to stay within this realm of non-existence, this realm of not meeting the anger itself, the anger should be reduced a little bit. By learning to stay within this non-existence of the arising, abiding, and departing of the anger, then gradually, over a period of time, one will really eliminate the power of anger from one's life. The same approach works not only with aggression, but also with desire, pride, jealousy, all of the defilements. Each time one looks for the defilements, one finds only emptiness and experiences this emptiness through the very direct experience by really trying to discover its essence. In the sutra approach, one develops an understanding of emptiness mainly through a process of deduction and investigation based on logic, clues, and working it out. One eventually comes to the conclusion of the emptiness of emotions based on the investigation of such facts as what we did when we examined the long and short sticks. Through these kind of exercises, the nature of emptiness is developed in the sutra approach. The VAJRAYANA approach is much more vivid, immediate, and real. When anger arises, for instance, the anger is truly there. It is very strong and potent at the time. Rather than analyzing and thinking about it, one looks at it straight in the face and tries to find out, where are you? Where are you coming from? One looks rather than thinking about it and finds only this emptiness, and as a result naturally experiences the emptiness of the anger. This way of tackling the emotions and defilements is often described in the spiritual songs, in Sanskrit dohas, of the Siddhas. They tell how powerful and vivid anger can be, and how at the same time one can use it to discover emptiness, because one naturally meets emptiness when one looks at this powerful and vivid anger. These two approaches of direct experience of the VAJRAYANA and the inferential approach of the Sutrayana is described by the third Kamapa, Rangjun Dorje, in the song of Mahamudra. The way things really are cannot be phrased in terms of existence. So he says the defilements, or even the mind itself, do not exist. When one seeks them, one can never encounter their existence. And then, he says, not even the Buddhas can see the true existence of any of these things. So it is not a question of existence or of non-existence, because even the Buddhas cannot see its existence. On the other hand, one can't talk about total annihilation or non-existence either, because all those things form the very basis for samsara. The impure side, and nirvana, which is liberation. Whether one is in samsara or whether one is in nirvana depends on one's mind. And so in the next line of this prayer, he says, it is not non-existence, because therein lies the foundation of samsara and nirvana. One might think that if things are not existent and not non-existent, then isn't there some contradiction here? No, there isn't, because things are in the middle way, which is the union of samsara and nirvana. It is neither one extreme of existence nor the other extreme of total annihilation. So, the next line says, it is not contradictory, it is this fusion which is the middle way. And the last line of the prayer is, may that which is free from any extremes, the universal essence, the essence of everything, be realized. Freedom from extremes means to be free from the 4 extremes and the 8 intellectual complications. It's a little strange when one starts talking in terms of non-existence and not non-existence, because this is not easy to grasp intellectually. But as far as the actual practice is concerned, when one meditates, these words develop full meaning because one discovers the essence of things, and the truth and meaning of those words become very clear. To develop peace and insight, then, is really just seeing things the way they really are. Sometimes when one meditates, it goes really well, and one thinks, oh, now I have really got it. At last, I'm a really good meditator, a great practitioner. Sometimes it goes really bad, and one thinks, oh, there's no hope. I have lost the knack of meditating completely. Both are just attitudes of the mind. Whether one feels one has great or terrible meditation, it doesn't make a difference to the actual essence of things, which always stays the same. One just continues to meditate without being carried away by the goodness or the badness of the experience. One just continues no matter how one relates to it.